चीज मैं आपको गारंटी के साथ लिख के दे सकती हूँ, आपको टेक्निक लोग सिखा सकते हैं, लेकिन आपकी कला का कोर आपको कोई नहीं सिखा सकता।
Ambegaonkar, very warm welcome to my space. Or I want to start this conversation with a Majaz couplet, which you know why I'm, saying right now, which is तेरे माथे का आंचल बहुत ही खूब है, लेकिन तू इस आंचल को अगर परचम बना लेती तो अच्छा. So this was early 90s, and I was watching Ali Sardar Jafri's Kehkasha on my television in a small town, and I saw you sitting next to Tanvi Azmi in this scene where Majaz is singing this poem, and I never forgot that face. And I would not have imagined that years later I would connect with you. And for those who don't know, you're one of the kindest and most generous people I have met. And in the industry that you work in, such people are hard to find. And the biggest example is for me personally that you hadn't ever met me in person. And yet, when I came for an event to Mumbai, you picked me up from the airport, you dropped me back, you put me up in your home, you introduced me to your daughter, you fed me the most delicious Maharashtrian meal I've ever eaten in my life. And you have been a steadfast friend since then. And you are like that with people who can do nothing for you, which is like miraculous in a world like the one that we live in. And coming back to how I came to first see you, I think that was a serial which was directed by Jalal Agha Sahab. And this is perhaps how your journey in the industry started. So why don't you just take me back to that time and tell me how that whole thing, that interaction with him happened, and you started as an actor, as a director, as film, and theater.
थिएटर तो उससे पहले शुरू हो गया था. I was already doing theater before I met Jalal. So my journey with theater begins in my 7th standard. In hindsight, that's where I fell in love with the theater, basically. You just you have such command, such control. This space belongs to you. I met Jalal very well. I suppose a lot of people meet celebrities like that. मेरे 12th standard का एग्जाम दे दिया था मैंने. मैं बॉम्बे स्कॉटिश में थी. एंड उस जमाने में एग्जाम और रिजल्ट के बीच में 2 कम से कम 2.5 महीने का अंतर होता था. वी हैड टू जस्ट सिट अराउंड डूइंग नथिंग. एंड किसी ने कहा कि आप बम्बई में हो तो शूटिंग देखी है क्या? एंड आई सेड नहीं, कभी शूटिंग नहीं देखी. तो आई वाज टेकन टू सी दिस a shoot. That was the first sitcom of India. The first time a sitcom was being shot in India, multiple camera setups, etc. And Archana Puran Singh was the heroine of it, and Jayant Kriplani was the hero, and the director was Jalal Agha, and Ishan Arya was the cameraman. And I reached there, and I think the person who was supposed to take me there, वो art department में था. तो वो शायद पहुंचा नहीं या busy था या पता नहीं क्या था. तो मैं पहुंच गई और मैं घुस गई अंदर. And that studio actually doesn't exist anymore. So unfortunately that landmark is no longer there. पर मैं गई अंदर और trolley shot लग रहा था. So trolley was being laid. There were people on tarafas like 60 feet above you. It was surreal. It was just a magical Disneyland place, And I was looking up as I was walking, and which often happens to me. I look up as I'm walking, and then I smack bang into something, or I fall off the pavement. It's happened before. That's what happened. And I smack banged into Mr. Ishan Arya, and literally onto his chest, and he was like, "Ooh." And I was like, and he said, "किससे मिलना है?" मैंने कहा नहीं, मैं शूटिंग देखने आई हूँ. अच्छा जाओ उधर. He basically wanted me to get off his trolley जहाँ पे वो lighting कर रहे हैं, camera setup कर रहे हैं. Anyway, I went down, एक ऐसा पिलर था, हाफ अ वॉल था, लिविंग रूम बनाया हुआ था, और वो एल शेप्ड सोफा था, और सोफे के कॉर्नर पे एक बहुत ही पिंक आदमी, राउंड स्माइलिंग बुद्धा पिंक ऐसे करके कुछ बैठे हुए थे, दोनों हाथ फैला के, एंड ही वाज स्माइलिंग अवे एट मी एंड आई स्माइल्ड बैक, एंड देन ही सेड इधर आओ. So I went and he says, who are you? I said so and so, and I said मुझे काम चाहिए. He said क्या काम करोगी? मैंने कहा whatever, anything. I want to work. So you can be my AD. I said what's an AD? So he explained what an AD was, assistant director. I said yeah. What क्या करना पड़ेगा? He said you're going to be a slave 24/7. So मैंने कहा ठीक है, I'll be a slave 24/7. What do I have to do? He said go get tea. So I went up के चाय चाहिए इसको कहाँ से लाके. And that's how I began working. That was like, I think, the 8th assistant director or something. But in a month, I was the chief AD. In a moment of perfect crystal clarity, I knew I had arrived at my place in this world, my path in this world, my special train carriage that was going to take me to my Hogwarts. And that's it. There was never a moment when I considered doing anything else. Kuch bhi nahi. I mean, I knew that this is where I was going to be. So I was a technician. I even edited that series because at one point our editor left, and we still had to deliver the tapes to Doordarshan. So I'd be going to college to Elphinstone, and then I would be spending nights doing the edit. So that the tapes could catch the train in the morning or flight in the morning or whatever. And that's how it began. And Jalal was a great teacher because उन्होंने मुझे एक symphony दी थी. It was called the New World Symphony. And he said, take this piece of music and turn it into cinema. Write me a story, do a storyboard, write me a short division. Tell me what your lenses are. What is your magnification? And I used to paint. I used to do a lot of charcoal portraits. So he said, just use that to make your thing. And so he taught me the basics of cinema by making me do all the hamali work, सारा हमाली वाला काम करो, पहले ये करो, पहले रगड़ जाओ, झाड़ू पोछा करो, फिर घर बनाना, that sort of thing. And he was a great teacher. फिर जब उन्होंने कहकशां किया, तो then I was sitting next to Tanvi ji, not because I was San Max, and I was an AD on that one. It was basically he needed someone to sit there, जो कुछ ऐसे exchange of looks या to convey the fact that that man Majaz Saab was singing for this lady. You see, so how do you convey that is by having a friend who said, oh, acha, and there was nobody, because हम लोग अलीगढ़ मुस्लिम यूनिवर्सिटी में actually वहाँ के क्लासरूम में शूट कर रहे थे, तो स्टूडेंट्स हमारा साथ दे रहे थे, पर उनमें से एक्टर ऐसा कोई नहीं था. तो वो जो मोमेंट था वो और कोई कर नहीं पा रहा था, तो उन्होंने कहा साड़ी पहनो बैठो, तो you're a slave, no, 24/7. So you said, हाँ ठीक है. You sat there and you did it. So that's how I came to be on celluloid in that project. Otherwise, I mean, I wasn't meant to be there, but that's it.
You were, I think, quite fortunate that there's so many people who knew their job so well, who were masters in their own way of their own crafts, and you came across them in very early, phases of your career. I think that is what has.
एक जमाना था, क्योंकि मैं इस इंडस्ट्री में लिटरली 17 साल की उम्र से हूँ. I'm 56 now. एक जमाना था जब आपके सीनियर्स, आपके गुरु इनसिक्योर नहीं हुआ करते थे. उन्हें डर नहीं लगता था कि आप उनको रिप्लेस कर देंगे या आप उनकी कला चुरा लेंगे या ऐसा कुछ होगा. There were no repercussions to being a good teacher for them, which is now everybody's insecurity that I will be replaced by those who I have taught. There was a generosity of spirit that has slowly drained away and doesn't exist now anymore. Everybody's terrified. The competition, of course, has increased. The number of people applying for the same jobs, vying for the same jobs has increased. But also, the quality of expertise has reduced. मैंने किसी स्कूल में जाकर के ना तो लेंजिंग सीखी थी, ना एडिटिंग सीखी थी, ना एक्टिंग सीखी है, ना लिखना ही सीखा है. मुझे सिखाया मेरे काम ने, और मेरे काम ने सिखाया, मतलब मेरे उन लोगों ने सिखाया जो डरते नहीं थे इस बात से कि कैमरा आपको दे रहे हैं, बोले व्यू फाइंडर में देख मुझे बता क्या हो रहा है. तो इवन टुडे एज एन एक्टर व्हेन आई स्टैंड इन फ्रंट ऑफ द कैमरा, मुझे पता है कि कहाँ लेंस में रिफ्लेक्शन आ रहा है, मुझे पता है कि कहाँ से कट करने से ये रिफ्लेक्शन लेंस में जाएगा. ये इसलिए था क्योंकि मेरे जो गुरु थे, इवन व्हेन आई वाज डूइंग मिस्टर इंडिया एज द चीफ एडी, पीटर पेरेरा करके थे, जो इन कैमरा, most of the effects in Mr. India have been done in camera, as in live on set. And Peter Pereira was in charge of that, and he used to work what is known as the Mitchell camera, जो उस जमाने में शायद एक ही हुआ करता था, राज कपूर साहब का हुआ करता था, उनके स्टूडियो में हुआ करता था, आर के फिल्म्स में. So we used to use that on set, and it's a blind camera. So once you set your shot, you have to close the viewfinder so that there is no light leakage. So you're running blind. जो कैमरामैन न्यू करके शॉट लेते हैं ना, वो मिचेल में नहीं कर सकते थे आप. So he was running blind, and he would teach me, and I have actually operated one of the shots, which is in the film. You know, they were not scared of telling you what is what. They were not scared of showing you कि अगर 50 का लेंस लगाया है तो उससे क्या होगा, 24 का लेंस लगाया है और कैमरा लो रखा है या हाई रखा है तो उस एंगल से इमेज को पे क्या असर पड़ता है. People were willing to share knowledge and listen to your feedback as well without being threatened by it. See? My personal experience has been that tribe has reduced in number. People are scared to share their knowledge because they think that might somehow undermine their position, or whatever it is. And I feel sorry for the youngsters today because they have to go to very expensive schools or acting institutes or something or the other, where they're basically being made a fool of. एक चीज मैं आपको गारंटी के साथ लिख के दे सकती हूँ, आपको टेक्निक लोग सिखा सकते हैं, लेकिन आपकी कला का कोर आपको कोई नहीं सिखा सकता. They can teach you language and expand your vocabulary, or all of that. But what you write, Reema, you have written one of the most remarkable books I've read, and Perfect Age remains one of my favorites. I have it by my bedside. So you can have vocabulary, but to capture the soul is a talent that nobody can teach. Acting कोई नहीं सिखा सकता आपको, आपको टेक्निक्स सिखा सकते हैं, but how to be emotionally truthful कौन सिखा सकता है आपको आपके अलावा? Who can? मुझे लगता है कि we've all become very fearful. डरते हैं हम, है ना? And more than anything else, हम brilliance से डरते हैं. Shekhar Kapoor was the one who told me when I became an actress कि अपना दिमाग घर पे रख के जाना. Don't take your brain to work with you. Because it'll intimidate people, it'll scare them. And of course, I will not follow instructions like that. But my career is testament to how truthful that is. If actresses take their brain to work, there is just that much they will be allowed to achieve and not more. They will be offered that much and not more.
I remember these remarkable people when I look back how you started, and the generosity and the trust that you met occasionally in people who recognized in you something that perhaps you were not aware of yourself. Somebody like Mukul Anand, for instance. And
yes, I loved him.
This amazing story about how you met him and what happened then. And just if you could just share that once again. I know that story, but I just want people to know also.
Yeah, I was coming off my last, I think, stint as an assistant, and I was at home. Landline का जमाना था वो. तो मुझे एक दिन सुबह 7 बजे के आसपास कुछ एक फोन आया. My father picked it up, I think, and said, it's for you. And it was Mukul Anand. He was calling from Film City, if I'm not wrong. And he said, and again, it was a landline he was calling from, you see. Film City office के बाहर हुआ करता था एक. So, and he said, I know that you have a script, and I don't know how he knew, or have the idea for a script. And I want you to come and have breakfast with me tomorrow at 7:30 or something in the morning. He told me his address, and he said, come and meet me. And first I thought it was a prank, I thought, कैसे पता वो मुकुल आनंद है, how do you know? But I said, चलो ठीक है, address तो दिया है, वैसे भी जू है, how wrong can you go? I mean, if it turns out to be a hoax, go to the beach, नारियल पानी पियेंगे with that. So I went, and it turned out to be his address. And I was let in, and those days I used to smoke, so this is really funny. So he came out of his, the inner room into the living room, and he said, okay, what will you have for breakfast? And there's so-and-so. And I said, yeah, whatever, And I was so nervous. I said, okay, this is the time to light up a cigarette. So I put a cigarette in my mouth, and I had a matchbook, those matchbook you have. So I had one of those, and I lit it up, and the whole bloody thing went up in flames. The whole matchbook went up in flames, and I was with a cigarette in my mouth and not burning matchbox in my hand. I was like, this hasn't begun very well, has it? And Mukul was like, don't laugh at this poor girl. She'll probably just be decimated. And he didn't laugh, which was very gracious of him. And then he offered me a lighter and whatever. And then I sat down and I told him the story. And he says, look, I don't think I can make this into a feature film, because it was a feature, but I can turn it into a limited series. Would you be interested? I said, well, I have to rewrite the whole thing. And he said, well, rewrite it. I'll offer you an office space. I will offer you Jali Sherwani karke ek writer hai. He will be your creative, guide through it on how to serialize it. And Sridhar Raghavan, I said, will come in, and he will do my serializing with his wife Bindhya. And he said, yeah, okay, done. And because he writes in English, so I said, I'll do the dialogues, the Hindi bit I will do, because it's my story anyway. So and we began, and it was for a production house called NMZ, which was in conjunction with Z. The Z was Z, and we were, I think, 5 days from going on the floor. There was a guy called Howard Martin who designed this fabulous machine for me, because I wanted to do some in-camera effects for it. And it actually synced the speed of the trolley. It was a motor that he had designed that synced the speed of the trolley with the number of frames, which is 25 frames in the video format. It's not 24, it's 25, right? On cinema, it's on celluloid, it's 24 frames. This is 25. So there's always a little bit of, that happens. And he had designed this whole thing. We had tested it. Our set was being put up and was almost ready, and then Mukul passed away, and that was that. And then, of course, the N part of that NMZ, because M was Mukul, did ask me to come in and see if I wanted to work with him, but I couldn't get along with that gentleman. I had zero respect for him, and not pleasant things there. And I said no, and I walked away. So because I had the privilege of being offered his office. I did all my auditions myself. I cast the people I wanted to. He never interfered in anything. He was like, he got this guy to design all this, to write all the software for me, for all my effects, my special effects, and it was fabulous. It was surreal, and it was 5 days away from the actual shoot. And then it's an honor that I hold very close to my heart. He was a good man. He was a really good man.
You're one of those few people जिनकी हिंदी और अंग्रेजी और बहुत सारी दूसरी languages में जो command है, it's fabulous, and you're well read, and you have this passion for the written word, which is something that sets you apart from a lot of other actors जिनको शायद डायलॉग समझते नहीं है, शायद बोलते हैं लेकिन they don't imbibe them, they don't get immersed in the words that they are speaking. And you're a fabulous writer, you're an absolutely phenomenal writer. So what is it that is holding you back? Because I know that you've done documentaries. There was a film that you did which I want to know about, because I didn't know that you had done a film which has not been released. And
नहीं, वो release नहीं हुई.
Talk about that.
It was a heist film. So
OTT के ज़माने में you can't pre-release it or anything? Have you thought about that?
That's up to the producer, na. I was just the writer and actress in it. I am not, I have no control over that. And that production house is shut down. So, but it was a heist film, and it was quite mad and quite crazy. And we shot it in 19 days in Rajasthan, in this garh, एक proper garh है जहाँ पे हमने जाके shoot किया था. And it was good fun. It was really good fun. मतलब उसमें स्टारकास्ट भी बहुत अच्छी थी. हम लोगों ने बहुत पागलों की तरह काम किया था उसके ऊपर. पर वो नहीं हुआ. अब क्या कर सकते हैं? It's just it's there in the resume. But other than that, it's see, there are loads of things in everybody's life which I think is left incomplete. Yeah, like the book. My daughter keeps telling me, write your memoirs, Ma. Write them.
The thing about my memoirs, Rima, is there are a lot of people that will be a part of it, are still alive, and there are not always complimentary things that I have to say about them, and the kind of resilience that my child has shown in the face of everything, because I'm a single unwed mother. And she has been called all kinds of names. So वो जो resilience उस बच्ची का है, मेरी बच्ची का है, वो सब में नहीं है. And इनमें से कुछ लोगों की families have nothing, they have not harmed me, you see. And I feel that if I write my memoirs and I write them with the honesty that I'm only capable of, I'm not capable of anything else.
But I meant fiction as well. I meant cinematic work. I meant creative work also. That's what I meant.
Yeah. No, that's the other thing. That's the other thing. I thought, I can fictionalize this. I can turn it into, a story. But then, I can turn it into a story.
Whether it's plays or it's a film, because now I'm not naive enough to think that OTT has changed things for people who have only talent and no money. But ideas, I think everybody wants to grab ideas, fresh ideas, unique ideas. And there are a lot of women's stories, and not necessarily your story, but you have this capacity to think on behalf of other people, think about what their experiences are, and interpret them because you've done it before. You've written a film before, so just was thinking that it's a waste of your talent and so much of potential that you have as a writer to not use that and not write. I would love to see that happen at some point sooner.
So I'm making a diary, and I used to be very diligent. I would write every night. Not so much now, but as often as I can. It could be as many as 4 days a week or 5 days a week. But I do write, in the sense I write when great emotion sort of swarms me. Understand one thing, when I'm working regularly as an actress, I find I don't write that much, because all the emotion that I have, all the passion that I have, all the thoughts that I have, somehow I channel them into my characters, into my scenes, into the work I'm doing. And I managed to say many things that may not be in the text, that may not be in the dialogue, that may not be even in the scene, but I managed to convey a lot of that in a lot of my characters, even when they are negative characters. I contextualize them, and I do that sort of instinctively. I realize when I look at my work, I realize, acha, ye to tha nahi script mein, lekin ab hai, जैसे मर्यादा में था मेरा, और वो जो कॉप था, जो हीरो का बाप था, उसका और मेरा ऐसा कोई ट्रैक नहीं था. But the very first scene we did together, on screen we had this strange kind of chemistry. And the first scene we did together is वो इस मिनिस्टर के पास लेके आता अपने लड़के को कि आपके पॉलिटिकल लाइफ में ज्वाइन कर लीजिए, और बोलता आप ही का बेटा है. Something in me, I looked at him and said, and you knew they had slept together. And I love the fact that the actor who was playing that character turned around and picked up the ball and perfectly followed through kiya usne. And he did कि लड़के के सामने मत इज्जत उतारना हमारी, that sort of thing, without even saying it, and in the end this is what they used. It wasn't in the script. They used what we did as actors, and that's how we inspired the writers to write the climax of that series. It's very, so when I do that, my need to write sometimes just depletes, because I'm doing that writing in my own way. But now when I have very little work in front of the camera, I'm not in front of the camera that much anymore. I write more now. And even otherwise, like मैंने बाहर में भी स्क्रिप्ट में कंट्रीब्यूट किया है, द शॉर्ट फिल्म लाली, उसका सीक्वल में भी कंट्रीब्यूट किया है. इन केसर आई हैव कंट्रीब्यूटेड. नाउ आई एम डूइंग अ फीचर फिल्म विद द सेम राइटर डायरेक्टर, एंड इट्स कॉल्ड वृद्धा, एंड आई हैव कंट्रीब्यूटेड मेजरली इन द स्क्रिप्ट. आई सिट विद हिम, everything he writes, he runs it past me, and there are entire scenes that I have added to it, there are entire characters that I have added to it. So most of the work that I do is collaborative in that sense. Abhi we are hopefully, and we are not hopefully, we are going to do it. We're going to make Evening Shadows 2, which is Kuch Sapne Apne. And even that, after the first draft was written, Sridhar and I had a meeting here in my house, and we ideated, and he said, acha, what if you were to write the log line for the film? And I wrote it, and I told him what it would be, and he said, well, where is Vasudha in it? And I said, in my mind, Vasudha is not the centerpiece in Evening Shadows. So what I'm saying is that I collaborate with my normally with my writer directors. Over a period of time, there are people I've worked with repeatedly, and they trust my instinct, And it's not just about, it's not that I contribute only to scenes in which I am there. No. I definitely, मेरे लिए क्या है ना, देखिए, कोई भी सीन हो, दो कैरेक्टर्स के बीच में होता है नॉर्मली, कभी कभी जब सोलो होता है तो सोलो होता है, बट देयर आर मल्टीपल कैरेक्टर्स. जिसका सीन है, वो सीन जिस मुद्दे के बारे में है, therefore it will be revolving around any one incident or which involves one character, वो उस कैरेक्टर का ही होना चाहिए वो सीन. जस्ट बिकॉज आई एम अ मोर अकम्प्लिश्ड और एक्सपीरियंस्ड एक्ट्रेस, अगर मैंने किसी और किरदार का सीन खा लिया तो आई हैव डन अ डिससर्विस टू दैट प्रोजेक्ट. माय वर्ड्स हैव अ फोर्स एंड अ लाइफ ऑफ देयर ओन. आई हैव नो कंट्रोल ऑन देम. मतलब मैं गाली जिस दिन देती हूँ ना, मैं पेट से गाली दे रही होती हूँ उस दिन. वो झूठ नहीं है, या वो लाइक्स या रीट्वीट्स के लिए नहीं है. दे हैव a speed of their own, they have a velocity of their own, and when they start, they will find an outlet. They will. It'll happen sooner, I hope, than later.
So another thing that I wanted to ask you is कि जैसे आपने अभी बोला कि you don't want to take up space which belongs to somebody else, but you've also given a lot of your time, your energy to projects which you believe in. बहुत सी ऐसी फिल्में हैं, जैसे बहार है या लाली है या इवनिंग शैडोज. These are films that are not in the commercial space so much, but you've given so much to them. And ये जो एक consciousness है कि मुझे ऐसा काम करना है, which is somehow meaningful, which makes a difference at some level. Especially in the case of Evening Shadows, do you feel कि a film like that dents the myopic kind of perception of love and gender and sexuality in relationships in the world that we live in? Or agar aisa hai, if those dents are being made, some difference is being made, which memories if you can share and tell me when you saw that tangible effect on people when the film came out.
I don't know if it has made a tangible effect on people. That's for sure. Because after Evening Shadows went on Netflix, I received messages from people in Peru saying that they've seen this film and and this is someone who's speaking in Spanish, so I'm doing a Google Translate, and who said that, not only that they are fans, but that this is a film that they will probably be able to show to their parents and, sit with them and say, and probably use as a conversation starter with their family members, etc. Which was a great comfort to me, because I felt that इतनी मुश्किलों से ये फिल्म बनी, और उसके बाद अगर एक बंदा जो पेरू में बैठा है वो आपको लिख के ये कहता है कि ये वो इंस्ट्रूमेंट है जिससे मैं अपने माँ बाप से बात करना शुरू करूंगा, इट्स अ ग्रेट कंफर्ट टू यू, कि आपको लगता है कि नहीं यार, इट वाज वर्थ इट, इट्स वर्थ इट. आई रिमेम्बर, it was premiered in Sydney at the Mardi Gras Film Festival. एंड उसके बाद रीमा ऑस्ट्रेलिया में 6 फुटे गोरे चिट्टे फैब्युलसली मसल्ड गॉर्जियस मेन मेरे सामने आफ्टर द फिल्म साष्टांग कर रहे थे, saying, isn't this how they say thank you in India? And I was like, no, nobody in India ever said thank you to me like this. Please get up and stand up. ये क्या है, ये क्या है? पर वो साष्टांग कर रहे थे. उस दिन के बाद that change from one film, somebody in Australia suddenly turns around and says, you made a difference to my life. And there's no cultural translation. It doesn't translate culturally. Evening Shadows का Australian outback से क्या ले, या Sydney से क्या लेना देना, culturally. But here it is. It speaks to people on a human level.
Right.
That is a huge honor. वो कुछ अलग ही है. वो एक, I mean, I've got 4 awards for this film, international awards, and one of them actually, after I was given the award, they said, you should have got the best actress. I got the supporting actress award, and they said, no, we should have given you but because we are an LGBT festival, a non-LGBT character can't be given the best actor or actress award. So I was like, okay, next time I hope it is God. But I've been working with HST and Madhav Bak करके play कर रही हूँ again about acceptance and starting the conversation and sensitization and outreach का काम करती हूँ. And my CEO of HST Vivekanand, he tells me, सर मेरे को कोई पूछता है ना मोना के बारे में कि बाबा वो क्या है, हमारे रेनबो स्पेक्ट्रम में, वो तो queer है बॉस, वो queer है, because you can't box her in. And when he told me that, in my mind you're queer, I was like, yeah, I am. I totally accept that. I totally accept that I'm queer, because I am queer. I am. You can't put me in boxes. I'll fight that box. I'll pulp it,
Where did this work with LGBTQ communities start? How did it? I know you were part of Hamsafar Trust as well. Where did this journey
I'm consulting with them now, yes.
Yeah. How did this happen?
Okay. But all my life, I've had friends from the LGBT community, without it ever being something you notice or is prominently in your face or causes any seismic change in your life. No, they have been friends, you know. One time, Vivekanand, who I had known in my time at Prithvi Theatre, he used to also hang around, वो theatre का बंदा है, उसने मुझे ऑफर किया था कि माधव बाग करेंगे हम लोग फॉर कशिश फिल्म फेस्टिवल शुरू हो रहा था, द वेरी फर्स्ट फेस्टिवल, फर्स्ट एडिशन ऑफ इट, एंड वी सेड कि एज वन ऑफ द other events attached to the festival, we want to do this play. And from the day we sat down to translate it, on the 5th day, was it, or the 6th day, I was performing it at the festival to a house full, which was a standing ovation. And first time that I, in my life, after a performance, I did a Q&A. The audience was, the forum was opened up for Vivek and I to field questions. And Vivek ko to questions puche unhone. Everybody was asking me questions because they thought I was the voice of the play. In that one performance, it was mine, you know. And I had to field questions like, what if you discover your child is gay? And my daughter was 3 years old at that time, you know. And I said, अभी तो मेरी जर्नी शुरू हुई है, जब तक उसे डिस्कवर होगा कि उसकी सेक्सुअलिटी क्या है, तब तक कितने साल मैंने भी तो गुजारे होंगे उसके साथ ही नहीं, इस प्ले के साथ, चेतन के साथ, माधव बाग के साथ, यू नो. मेरा भी नॉलेज इंक्रीज हुआ, मैं भी समझूंगी, मैं भी, और वैसे भी मैं जजमेंटल नहीं हूं इन मामलों में. आपकी पर्सनल लाइफ क्या है उससे मेरा क्या लेना देना, मेरी प्रायोरिटीज अलग है, you know. So I find that because I am such a weirdo, it's very hard for me to point fingers at other people and say, oh, that one is a video. होगा ना, क्योंकि मैं भी तो हूँ, I'm genuinely weird. I know it.
You know? I'll tell you what makes you weird. What makes you weird is the constant search for purpose and meaning, you know, in life.
Another thing about social media for me, I realized it was, although that is what it's supposed to be for, I'm told, self-promotion. Lekin social media is such a powerful place. You can, if you want to, not just promote yourself, but promote equity. The fact that tribals and Dalit Bahujan Samaj are being crushed in our country, that wrongfully some states are saying that we must designate Hindus as minorities because in some pockets they're less than other denominations. In a Hindu majority country, हम लोग हिंदू राष्ट्र बनने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं और हिंदू को माइनॉरिटी डेजिग्नेट करने वाले, तो ये मेरी नहीं समझ में आया. तो मेरा माइंड जो है ना, वो जानता है कि सोशल मीडिया स्पेस बहुत पावरफुल है. जितना ज्यादा वहां पे बकवास होती है और जितना फेक न्यूज होता है, उतना ही पावरफुल मीडियम है फॉर रियलिटीज टू बी reiterated, stated, repeated, shared, you know, facts to be propagated. So the only way you can fight against what is wrong is by constantly doing what is right, you know, what is the correct thing to do, which is to disperse knowledge, real knowledge, you know. Not all knowledge in it is either useful to you or even relevant to your life. But I feel that if we can find areas of interest there, which as an artist you must, unless you've done as a writer, as an actor, definitely even as a director, if you don't live life, you can never recreate it in your art form, you know.
True.
तो मुझे as a protected existence नहीं जीना है. There is one line that is sitting in my head every day. It sits in my head. It's a beautiful, beautiful line. It's on the lines. It's literally as epic as the, you know, as Nehruji saying कि we made a tryst with destiny. Rahul Gandhi said, डरते हो ना, इसीलिए नफरत करते हैं. डर निकालो अपने मन से, नफरत भी जाएगी. देखो, आने नहीं देना नफरत को अपने मन में, क्योंकि डर निकाल दो ना, फिर नफरत किससे करोगे?
True.
It is fear that creates hate, you know. So take the fear out of your heart, you know. And it is just, this needed to be said, you know. It just needed to be said, and I'm glad that somebody is saying it, you know. he's the only leader I know today who's vocally saying that the RSS and the BJP are a threat to India. And आज मैंने ट्विटर पे लिखा भी, मैंने कहा अगर आप भारत जोड़ो यात्रा के खिलाफ हैं तो फिर टुकड़े टुकड़े गैंग आप ही होंगे, क्योंकि अगर भारत जुड़ेगा नहीं तो टुकड़े टुकड़े हो जाएगा ना उसका, है ना? So how can you be against something that is bringing people together? It doesn't matter what political dispensation you're from, it doesn't matter which political party you represent. एक बंदा है जो बोल रहा है यार भारत जोड़ो, इसको जोड़ो यार, ये फट रहा है, इसको सियो, let's make this beautiful quilt come back together, you know, let's redo this massive beautiful multi-dimensional quilt which is India, let's do it, you know. And I'm thinking, yeah, let's do it. This ये मौका है, अभी तक जिंदा है ना, तो ये मौका है, कर लो. किसी ने शुरुआत की, हमें करनी चाहिए थी, हम तो बेवकूफ डर के बैठे हुए थे कि यार इससे हमारे बच्चों पे परिणाम होगा, हमारा बुढ़ापा कैसे गुजरेगा, और दुनिया भर के हम डर लेकर के बैठे हैं, यू नो. पर एक बंदा है कर रहा है, उसके साथ कम से कम जुड़ जाओ, यू नो. सो आई फील दैट वी शुड, ये मुक्त भारत और वो मुक्त भारत नहीं यार, भारत किसी भी चीज से मुक्त नहीं हो सकता. भारत वो सबका सम्मिश्रण है जो यहाँ है, जो कल आया था और कल आएगा, वो भी भारत का ही हिस्सा है. अभी कुछ रोहिंग्या 2 लोगों को पकड़ के उनके बच्चों को भी पकड़ लिया है, दे हैव बीन अरेस्टेड. इस पृथ्वी का कौन सा हिस्सा है जिसपे कोई भी इंसान अवैध है, बताइए. Who is illegal on any part of this earth? Which human being is illegal on any part of this earth? Which creature is illegal on any part of... हमें ये समझना चाहिए कि कोई भी चीज मुक्त नहीं हो सकती, ऐसा मुक्त नहीं. आपको कोई चीज लोगों से मुक्त नहीं हो सकते. आप लोग हैं, they are going to be here, they are not going anywhere, you know. What you can do is take the fear away, take the hate away, definitely take the corruption away, because it's corruption that is making you Bangalore flood. My city has no roads, you know. There are interiors of India that have not seen a full day of electricity ever, you know. That is corruption. It's all a result of corruption, of greed. तो अगर कुछ निकालना है तो ये चीजें निकालो ना. लोगों को निकाल के क्या करोगे? उनको निकाल दिया, 4 इधर और पैदा हो जाएंगे आपके. उनको निकालोगे, किस किस को निकालोगे, यू नो. कहाँ जाएंगे ये लोग? तो ये मेरे नहीं समझ में आता. मैं आई रियली ऑनेस्टली डोंट अंडरस्टैंड. आई फाइंड दैट मैं तुमसे लड़ लूंगी, लेकिन मैं कभी ये नहीं बोलूंगी कि तुम भारत छोड़ के चले जाओ. नहीं यार, मेरे इनफैक्ट ट्विटर बायो में है, आई एम व्हाटएवर आई एम, बट मैं पाकिस्तान नहीं जाऊंगी. मैं कहीं नहीं जाऊंगी, मैं यहीं रहूंगी. सॉरी. आई बिलीव दैट फाइट, let it be an honorable fight, let it be a fight based on truth and facts. पर कोई भी मुक्त भारत नहीं चाहिए यार. अपना भारत is, it has the, you know, it has had the large heartedness to include some of the greatest scholars, even who are British, white people, you know, whether it is Rudyard Kipling, made India his home, or a Tom Alter, an American white man who spoke the most, जिनकी स्क्रिप्ट उनको उर्दू में देनी पड़ती थी. आपको पता है, वो उर्दू में स्क्रिप्ट पढ़ते थे.
Yeah, I've interviewed him.
है ना? And people like William Dalrymple is writing some of the best and most readable history, you know, contemporary history of India. So we are a country which is full of so much generosity. And to lose that would be, it would be a pity. It would be a pity. I like the people I fight with because they get my blood going, you know. At my age, I really need my blood to be going because otherwise I'm nowhere. So, you know, I like the people I have differences of opinion with because they make me think. They make me think why, you know, and research my subject more carefully. Because if I'm wrong, they will bring me down, boom, you know. So it makes me do my homework. Yeah, I think I think as long as you're a human being, you're complex. You have to be complex. Unless you're a cardboard cutout, in which case I'm very sorry for you. But but if you are any sort of a hard mass का इंसान, तो फिर आप में complexity होनी ही चाहिए. That makes you interesting.
Yeah.
And yes, you don't find that many interesting people, but then you do have maybe one or two. Nurture them.
I've loved your writing. I just had this unfinished dream that one day there will be a magnificent creation with your name on it. Your life is already magnificent. You are magnificent. And I hope one day there'll be everything that you hope your creative life to be. And I hope the world wakes up also and realizes what a treasure you are and what a fantastic, creatively gifted and unique human being you are. And how much you have within you to be able to give.
One confession. There is one confession. I am beset by self-doubt. I battle depression. I am not sure that all the things people believe I'm capable of, I'm actually capable of delivering.
No, but see, the thing is that all of us are at some level, but it would be a shame to deny, the full blossoming that you're capable of. And you've done it already in so many different ways. You've already battled so much and you've come through everything. You've walked through fires, literally. So it doesn't really matter what is holding you back, because
yeah. I don't really care what people think.
No,
it's all about
it's not. But
myself.
Whatever your own shadows may be, but there is so much more to you. There's so much light in you. It's blinding. So just I hope you give me that moment when I see that happening. That alchemy at the level that you are capable of creating that magic. So my wishes.
Thank you
for that.
Hi, this is Rima, and if you liked what you just saw, then do like and subscribe, because remember, this is a safe space for people to talk, share their stories, to hear each other, make some time in their busy lives for unboxed conversations.